I'm going to introduce your keynote speaker, your presenter for the day, to come and present a leadership to you. Today we have a gentleman by the name Diederik van Niekerk, who was born and raised in Kimberley. He matriculated in Diamondveld High School. And then in the following, he completed Bachelor of Medical Science and Honors of Medical Science degrees, specializing in biochemistry, physiology, and pharmacology from the University of the Free State. Yeah, Kofi, alma mater. He also went to complete master's degrees in medical science, specializing in pharmaceutical science from Wits University, Khetheng, as well as a postgraduate diploma in project management in UNISA School of Business Leadership. Okay, and then in 2002, he was certified as an international clinical research professional with the European Association of Clinical Research Professionals. Should I continue? Diederik's clinical research career of almost 25 years started as a clinical research associate of Bristol Myers Squibb and has included roles such as research project program manager, clinical operation director, and clinical research consultant. Currently, he heads up South African operations and he serves in the global senior management team of an international clinical services organization with operations across 4 continents, okay, including US, UK, EU, Africa, and India. Now, last but not least, his journey as an entrepreneur started at a young age, growing up as a son of an accountant or chartered accountant with various business interests. In 2005, he started investing in his own business ventures, learning and growing through trial and error. In 2014, he was certified as an international business coach with ActionCOACH Business Coach in the US, the world's #1 business coaching firm. And in 2020, Diederik was certified as an international executive and leadership coach, okay, in partnership with Franklin Covey Institute in the US. During his tenure as business executive and leadership coach, he has helped more than 80 local and international businesses and corporates, resulting in multiple coach and clients awards. Ladies and gentlemen, from my side, this is let me tell you just from the history. This is the first, we have business coaches, we have consultants who will always approach you, right? This is the very, very first one who has converted me into a client. This is the man who has been coaching and mentoring me for the past 5 years. This is the man, when he retired from ActionCOACH, who offered me an opportunity to actually purchase a franchise. Now, I purchased a franchise of a business that's been there for 28 years. In less than a year, then I was there on top. Many people ask themselves, this is the business, obviously, that has got over 52 coaches in the whole of Africa. Only about 3 people, I think there's 1 in Nigeria, and there's 2 of us who are African and Black owning the franchise. Now, the business and the market that's in it, you can imagine what it will take for somebody who is not, let's say we are not expecting that, not with experience, to come in the first year and second year and top the whole, coaching ranks by becoming #1 coach in Africa. And what makes me #1 coach in Africa? The earnings. It's all about the earnings. What you are able to go get out there, how many businesses you help. Business is about how many people you help. The more people you help, the more you earn. So with that being said, this is the guy that even today, every month, I make sure that I pay him for his services. He has made me who I am. I think the past 4 years, 3-4 year journey, 5 years actually, 5-year journey that I've traveled with him has transformed me into the kind of businessman that I am today. This is the man who I always say, he practices what he preaches, always puts pressure on himself. Sometimes he'll go into a depression because he said something and he didn't do it. I'm thinking, why do you put so much pressure on yourself, coach? So, but I've realized for all these 5 years, what he says, he preaches. Now, if that is not one of the best leadership qualities that you can find, this is one of the reasons when we put out our speakers and we look at each and every one, we look at their lives as a whole, things that they do, what makes them real leaders and true. He comes out tops. No wonder he produces top coaches. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am truly humbled and honored to bring to the platform, my coach, Diederik van Niekerk, all the way from the States in South Africa, because everyone is across the country. I mean, the state in South Africa, the Free State, the city they call Cold, which is Bloemfontein. Coach Diederik van Niekerk, thank you so much for being with us today. The platform is all yours. Our wonderful entrepreneurs are here to learn leadership from you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for the introduction, Thabo. I really appreciate it. As always, it's an absolute privilege to join you today as a speaker, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some of this topic with the audience today. I think you might have alluded to this, but certainly probably my favorite topic. Something that I keep on evolving in, and I think that I've been, have been evolving in as I was growing and learning myself as well. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into our talk and our presentation today. I trust you can all see my screen. If not, please just let me know. Right, so let's get straight into it. So I want to give you all a really practical look at leadership today. And before I get started with a specific talk, maybe just a quick bit of background. So as Thabo said, I've been coaching now for almost 8 years. Partly as part of ActionCOACH. Unfortunately, due to commitments and time, I had to make the hard decision to move on. But certainly, still a very big fan of ActionCOACH, very big supporter of ActionCOACH, and owe ActionCOACH a lot of what I've also learned in terms of business and in terms of leadership. As part of my current organization, we started partnering with the Franklin Covey Institute about 2 years ago, and I had the privilege to certify as a leadership coach and as a facilitator with the Franklin Covey Institute in the US as well. And really, primarily because I really believe in and align with their approach, and hopefully you'll all agree when I go through this today, that really I believe that this is what leadership is and what leadership should be. And as I said, also, a real nice practical approach to how to go out and practice leadership, and not only leadership as an airy-fairy type principle, but as something that you can do on a day-to-day basis that will get you tangible results, not only in your business, but in life. Right, so I'm not going to introduce myself again. Thabo did say that, or Thabo did give you some background around myself. Really just wanted to add that currently focusing a lot on doing leadership coaching in our organization across the globe. Our leaders from India, Europe, UK, and the US, and really enjoying that. And it's really a nice challenge to be able to apply the things that I'm going to share with you today in a large global organization and see the results there as well. And perhaps also, a good time to note that, even though, today might be geared a little bit towards, the leadership in terms of leading a team of people in an organization. I know that we also have smaller businesses, and that's fine, that have joined us today. That's all part of the journey, right? That's where all the businesses start. So, thinking of your ladder of entrepreneurship, you're on your way to becoming a larger organization. That's fine. Just keep in mind today that these principles still apply. You're going to be leading a team of one, right? And that in itself is where leadership starts, is being able to lead yourself. So if perhaps you're in a situation where you don't have a team, still take in what you can today. And remember that these are the things that you have to master leading yourself before you can obviously go and lead a team. But as I said, looking today at, what are the 4 essential roles of what a leader really should be. Right, and I think that's hopefully why you all have joined us today. This is your challenge, right? How can I be a more effective leader? This is certainly the question that I want to try and answer today. How can I be a more effective leader than what I am today? Right, so this really is my view, my belief, my stance on leadership. That certainly is what the Franklin Covey Institute take as leadership as well. So leadership is a choice. It's not a position. Leadership is a skill that can be learned. Leadership requires making change and progress. I think Thabo alluded to that as well earlier when he spoke about personal development and reading. You constantly have to be willing to make changes, embrace changing, not only in your organization, but in yourself as well. Constantly looking for that growth and progress. That in itself is required to be a good leader. Leadership is all about influence. Leadership is all about achieving results with and through other people. So I guess it can already be said that if you don't like people, then maybe leadership is not for you, because that really is what leadership is all about. Right, so Franklin Covey have done a lot of research on leadership, and they surveyed some global leaders of global organizations on what are the top challenges that these leaders face. And these were the ones that came out. So the top challenges were that they struggle to engage, motivate, and retain good talent. They struggle to lead multiple generations. I think we all know we live in a time where we've over the last 20 or 30 years had a number of changes in the way we do things, in the way we live, and certainly each time a new generation gets formed and born, there's different beliefs that need to be managed. I guess this has always been a bit of a challenge, but certainly, yeah, we're sitting with multiple generations in the workplace, and leaders struggle to manage that. Leaders generally, I think, just struggle to lead change, right? They struggle to prioritize coaching and mentoring. Something I think we all hopefully understand the value of, and I'll talk more about that later. But how do you prioritize this, and how do you do it properly? How do you translate strategy into action? Because that's another challenge. Developing other leaders, getting the actual work done, of course, as well, right? That's really important. We'll talk about that as well. And then, of course, just generally leading the business proactively in the right direction. So these are the top challenges that leaders have noted that they face today. These leaders were also surveyed and asked, so what do they expect from their middle managers, right? From their team leaders, from their senior management in organizations. And it came out, I think it's clear, the top three were, they want them to think big and adapt quickly. That's a requirement today. They want them to develop and execute strategies, and they want them to coach and improve performance. So I think it's fair to say from all of this that the number one challenge in organizations today are that we do not have enough ready now leaders. I think we're always busy talking about how we need to develop leaders and how we, how leaders are in development. But at the end of the day, we're sitting in a situation where, a lot of I joke and say, all toppies or good leaders, not that they are all good leaders, but certainly are, retiring or moving out of the workplace. And the question comes up, are we replacing them fast enough? And unfortunately, it seems that we're not. And Thabo mentioned it as well. We are sitting with a bit of a struggle at the moment, right? That we don't have leaders that are ready now. I think summarizing all the research, this really is a good deduction. And I think, that bodes the question, why? Why are we not seeing enough ready now leaders? Why are leaders not getting results in business today and getting the results that they want? So quickly allow me, before I dig into our 4 roles of leadership, to show you, why are leaders not getting these results today? So why do we have this leadership breakdown? So firstly, they do not, there's low or no trust. They don't know how to, or they just generally don't prioritize building an environment of trust. Okay. It was found that they don't spend time on creating an environment where there's a clear vision and strategy. So teams, don't know what the vision is, they don't know what the strategy is. Excuse me. So leaders today, unfortunately, don't have the ability to execute priorities. And certainly that's fair. We live in a time where there's a lot of distractions, especially for leaders who are involved in a lot of things and have to sort of keep their fingers on a lot of things. So, but they struggle with the ability to execute priorities. And then lastly, they don't utilize properly the talent and the potential of their people. So, this really summarizes why leaders currently are not getting the results. And that really brings us to why and how and where these essential roles of a leader was identified. Really, I think if you look at these four reasons for leaders not getting results, it sort of speaks for itself that, and this is what we'll be looking at today. Really, the roles, the four essential roles of a leader to be successful, obviously then is to create vision and to execute strategy and to coach potential in people. But most importantly, in the center of all of that is building and creating an environment that inspires trust. Okay, so let's look at that today. Now, again, before I move on and look at, run you through those four essential roles, it is very important that we also just stand still for a few minutes around employee and team engagement. So, because as you'll note, as we talk through those essential roles, they are all based on and in a healthy environment and a team with high levels of engagement and team members with high levels of engagement. So just to remind you all, when we talk about engagement, what are we talking about? So firstly, we have people who, as we also say, are perhaps below the line around their level of trust, their level of engagement with other team members and with you as a leader. And I want you to look at these and also ask yourself, can you think of some people who are, resentfully obedient in your team? They do what they're supposed to, but they're really not doing it with a big smile on their face, right? They're at the point of, the only reason they're still part of your team is that they just haven't managed to find a better job yet. Or do you have people on your team that are really cooperating because they want to? Even better, that really put their heart and soul into what they do. And then, of course, that top level of engagement, that are really excited about what they do, that are passionate about what they do. So yeah, think about your team. Where are they? Where are you? And can you remember when you were ever in a situation where you were perhaps below the line? Right. Excuse me. So what are we really trying to say? If we're going to be building, if we're going to be successful leaders, and if we're going to be building a successful team, it starts with engagement. Those are the building blocks of leadership and of good leadership in a team. And this is the end goal, right? We want to create a team where team members feel like this: I'm a valued member of a winning team doing meaningful work in an environment of trust. That's what we're saying with those four roles, isn't it? So, and these are the things that we've then identified as the drivers of engagement. So we'll talk about this later, but engagement is really the goal. We want engaged employees. We want engaged team members. This is true for any sports team as well. Am I valued in the team? Am I part of a winning team? Am I doing meaningful work? And, is this all done in an environment of trust? What does the environment look like? So I've just listed them for you, but let's just go through them all again. So really, as we said, those are the 4 drivers of engagement then, right? So am I valued? Am I part of a winning team? Am I doing meaningful work? And is it done in an environment of trust? Now, hopefully you can see, and I wanted to specifically show this to you, that the 4 drivers of engagement really align 100% and reflect the 4 essential roles of leadership. So when I talk to you about these 4 roles of leadership today, hopefully you can see that they stem from what's needed to get an engaged team member. Okay, so engagement is such an important goal and building block of good leadership. But they also stem from the areas that when we did the leadership breakdown, the areas where we see leaders fall short at the moment, and that's where our 4 essential roles were identified, and what this program was based on. Right, so let's dig straight into that. And just a reminder before we do that, hopefully you've all seen as well that leadership is a choice. It's not a position. I did say this before, but hopefully you can see that throughout what we're going to discuss today, there's some choices that you need to make around all these practical things to implement good leadership in your organization. Right, so as I said earlier, those are our principles, and that's what we'll be looking at today. Unfortunately, I can't get into too much depth around any of these, but really want to take it one step further and give you a proper plan on saying, okay, so how do I create vision? How do I inspire trust? How do I execute strategy? How do I coach potential? And we'll be looking at each one of those and give you a few tips around just getting started around getting those 4 things implemented in your organization. In other words, making those 4 roles practically possible for you to implement by giving you this implementation plan. Right, so let's look at the first one, inspiring trust. In the middle, right? The core of it all. How do we inspire trust? So, I love this statement, and it's short and sweet, but this is what this is all about. Leaders create culture. So, it's all about being proactive in creating culture. Culture is not something that just happens in your business. Well, it will happen whether you like it or not. But if you don't become proactive around creating the culture in your business that you want, that your business needs, that will support your business, that will keep your team happy, some or other culture will develop. The question is just, is it going to be the culture that you want? Well, you can take control of this. Okay, you need to take control of this. So good leaders know how to do that, and they create the culture that's needed in their organizations. Okay. As I said before, why? Because it creates the environment of trust that is needed, that people want, that gets people to engage. Okay, it's all about moving from leading a team where a culture just happens to leading a team where a high trust culture is created intentionally from the inside out. And how? And there's 2 main areas that we're going to look at for this. By accelerating your credibility and clarifying your team culture statement. So how do I as a leader do this? So let's quickly talk about each one of these. How do I accelerate my credibility as a leader? Well, the easiest way to say this is really just, it's all about your behavior. It's all about what you do and not just what you say. So, what are the decisions that you're making in your business? What can your team see you do that gains credibility? I mean, think of people that you respect. Think of people that in your eyes are credible. What is it that made them credible in your eyes? Is it because they stick to their word? Is it because they do and they try and do the right things? Is it because they are human? That's what this is all about. Bringing humanity into your business. Just, so it's all about you, right? It's all about you being a better person. It's all about you doing the right thing. And yes, nobody's perfect. You are going to make mistakes. But again, are you honest about those mistakes? How do you position that to your team? That gets credibility as well. So, this is really important. And this is where inspiring trust with our teams start. It's all about, you. And I always joke and say, this is the one that, leaders get wrong without realizing it, or they think they can fool the system and trick their teams around this. It takes a lot of work and time to build credibility, and it takes one wrong move to lose it, right? You'll all hopefully know what I'm talking about, and to lose all that work and lose credibility with your team. So this is really important. And then I think once you understand that, you've got to say, okay, so what is the culture I want? Becoming proactive around the culture I want for my team. Once I've got an understanding of that, work with the team to create a statement and communicate that to the team. This is something that is very under-communicated to our teams. It's not emphasized in businesses at all. And I'm sure if I ask who have culture statements out there, very little of you will be able to put your hands up. Take it one step further. Do you have a culture statement, or your values for that matter? Do you have it, put up somewhere in the business where everybody can see it? How often do we revisit it? How often do we remind each other of it? So all of those things are really important, and how you go about, implementing that on a day-to-day basis with your team as well. The culture of any organization is simply the collective behavior of its leaders. If you want to change your culture, change the collective behavior of the leaders. Okay, so really a powerful statement, and really summarizes a lot of what I've just said. Right. In the interest of time, unfortunately, we can't dig into these any deeper today, but let's look at the next one. The second one we said was to create a vision, right? So this is the second essential role of a leader. So really, if we think about it, and most of your teams might feel this way, your team does not have an inherent right to exist. So this role is all about getting your team to understand why they exist, and not only understand, believe that they actually have a right as a team to exist. Okay. Differently said, it's also getting your team to understand how their work is relevant. What is the difference that they're making out there? Okay. And that's the vision, right? So we've got to create this vision. And yes, we have all these terms out there, vision, mission, but generally speaking, we need to have our team feel that at the end of the day, this is the end goal. They are doing meaningful work. Okay. Right. Again, how do we go about this? Sorry, let me just summarize again. What is this all about? It's moving away from managing people to just, doing a job description, to engaging them and help them understand how what they're doing is meaningful. So now taking it that one step further, right? And as I said, how are we doing this? We'll look at a few tips just briefly. So we're going to be looking at, how do you create a team vision? So, do you yourself have this mastered as a leader? So it's vital that, you've got to understand your own vision. You've got to understand the vision of your business. And then you've got to help your team create a vision for the team that aligns with the vision of the business, right? So this is what's going to give them purpose, isn't it? And then, of course, the next step is, designing a strategy of how we are going to achieve that vision. What is it that we do every day? How is what we do every day going to help us achieve that vision? And then again, putting that into a narrative, being able to share that with each other, with our clients, and being able to really communicate that. So in other words, getting a strategic narrative in place. So this is, when we talk about this topic, this is how Jeff Bezos puts it. When the world changes around you and when it changes against you, you have to lean into that and figure out what to do, because complaining isn't a strategy. So in other words, you know, you'll be able to take on challenges much better if you know where you're going, if you know why you exist. You know, there almost won't be time for complaining, because you know you'll be able to take on any challenge head on. But you can only do that if you understand why you exist. For a lot of businesses, I put this in here because it's a good reminder when we talk about creating a vision and creating a strategy around our vision. A big part of that strategy for any business always has to be, you know, looking after our customers. You know, most businesses are there to solve a problem for customers, right? Do you understand what your customer really wants from you? Do you understand what your customer is what's gonna make your customer happy? Do you understand what's gonna get your customer to stay loyal to your business, right? As we always say, you know, become less price sensitive because they're so happy with the solutions you provide for them. And that often goes a lot further to just a transaction. And I personally think this is where a lot of businesses get it wrong. They're not just there for a transaction. The transaction is the end result of why they're there and the solution that they want, okay? But how, you know, does your strategy include making it easy for me to do business with you? Okay, that needs to be a big part of, you know, once I've got the vision, how are we going to achieve the vision? You know, is this a part of it? And do we communicate this to clients? Is it part of the narrative that we're creating around our vision? And as I said before, once we've got this designed, most leaders unfortunately under-communicate this vision by a factor of between 10 and 100 times. So differently put, if you've got this in place, you can probably shout it 10 times louder and do 10 times more with it, at least, than what you currently are, to really get it out there. And in the process, help your team feel that what they are doing is meaningful and is making some changes out there, because that's really what most people want, right? Good. Right, so moving on to our third role then, executing strategy. So once we've got, you know, our vision clear, we know where we're heading as a team. We've got the strategy defined. We've got the narrative around that defined. How are we now going to make sure that the strategy gets executed effectively? Okay. Now, this is a contentious statement, but I specifically wanted to put it up today to challenge all of you. And it says, by Arthur Jones, all organizations are perfectly aligned to get the results they get. So what can we read from this? You basically deserve what you're getting at the moment, okay? And you know, as I said, contentious, but you know, we've also got to sometimes face the truth. So if we're not getting the results that we want, you know, maybe our vision's in place, maybe we're not executing correctly, maybe we're not executing effectively. And then we need to look at this role. We need to take responsibility for this role as leaders in our organizations. Okay, it's all about, when we bring it back to our team, making sure that we have a winning team. You know, all of us want to be on a winning team, right? So that's the role of a leader, ensuring a winning team. Okay. Right. This role is all about how can we make it easier to get the results we want. It's all about thinking success comes from the strategy. And I want to stand still on this. We often think, wow, we've got a strategy. That's only the first step. Okay. That's not going to make me successful. Okay. Implementing the strategy, and we're going to just stand still a little bit on how do we implement the strategy. But that's what it's about, knowing that enduring success is in the systems. Okay. So executing a strategy is really, what are the systems that I'm putting in place to execute the strategy, to make the strategy reality? Okay. And that's done in two ways. We're going to be looking at 6 areas called the 6 rights. And also, I'm just briefly going to share with you the 4 disciplines of execution. Okay, so let's quickly look at the 6 rights alignment plan. And it'll become clear now what I mean when I say the 6 rights. So it's really the 6 right areas in your business where you need to focus. It's all about systems. So J.W. Marriott said, the devil is in the details. Success is in the systems. So what exactly is a system then? A system is a process, method, or set of procedures for achieving something, right? So this step is all about leveraging. In other words, getting the systems in place. And if you're a good leader, you'll aim to getting a great system. A great system is aligned to achieve what's more important. Takes it one step further. It makes it easier to get the work done. It operates independently of the leader, and it endures beyond the leader. Okay, so a good leader will understand this, and they will work towards putting this in place. This is an essential role for a leader, is to put this in place and to maintain this. Okay. And there are 6 areas in your business that you need to systemize, that need to be aligned in your business. And that's why we call it the 6 rights. So, systems around your people, the systems around your structure, rewards in your business, that includes salary, but not only salary. If people do something good for the business, how are they rewarded? And we're not only talking monetary rewards. Systems around resources. So how's resource planning done in your business? Is that systemized? Can the resource planning continue without you being there? So in other words, how's that automated? I see some people are raising their hands. We're going to be taking questions at the end. Then systems around decisions, and then systems around processes. So what do those look like? You've got to put systems in place. That's good leadership. That's one of the 4 essential roles of a good leader, is looking at systemizing the business, executing the strategy through systems in these 6 areas, or the 6 rights. Now, here's another one that, unfortunately, we can't discuss in depth today, but I want you all to think about, because this is something that I think most of us get wrong. Engagement does not create execution. Execution creates engagement. So it really just speaks to the importance of taking action, right? And a good leader is a go-getter. A good leader makes things happen. What does this imply? Lead by example. Get your hands dirty yourself. Show the team how it's done. They will then follow much quicker and much more willingly than, trying to create a la-di-da environment and then hoping that they do the work. No, it works the other way around. Okay, so just remember to get that right. Right, so there's another area around executing strategy. And as I said, that's the 4 disciplines of execution. So this looks at what prevents our team from getting the most important things done. Really, as easy as that. What prevents our team from getting the most important things done? Is it time management? Is it distractions? One way to look at this, certainly, and a lot of this stems from what Stephen Covey wrote in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a must read for any leader. Some basic building blocks. If you haven't read it, please go back and make sure that you read that. He has the 4 quadrants around time management, and really this summarizes that really well. In this case, we talk about the whirlwind. And the whirlwind's going to happen, right? So that's the stuff that really needs to happen on a day-to-day basis. They must happen, okay? They're all the urgent things. And what happens, unfortunately, is that these things keep you busy, and they keep you from making time for the important things. The downside with the whirlwind is that, sorry, these are the things that if you don't pay some attention to them, there's going to be a negative result, right? And that's why we're forced to focus on them. The hidden truth with the important stuff that's going to ensure my growth and my future success is that, if I don't pay attention to them today, probably not going to be worse off in the short term, right? But that's why it's so important to understand and realize this and make time for the important, right? So let's look at that in a bit more detail. Stephen Covey said, most of us spend too much time on what's urgent and not enough time on what's important, right? So I think that's clear, and most of you might have heard this. Any time management course will teach you this. So the 4 disciplines of execution really focus on that. It tries to make, it tries to help us focus more on the important rather than on the urgent. So what are those 4 disciplines that are going to help us with that? The first one is focusing on the wildly important. So in other words, you've got to have a system to identify what are the things that really are going to make a critical difference to the team and to the business. The second one is acting on lead measures. So this is about leveraging, right? And then discipline number 3 is keeping a compelling scoreboard. Discipline number 4 is creating a cadence of accountability. Right. Lesala, I just wanted to check in. Are we all good? Everybody can still hear me? Everybody can still see the screen? Okay, I'm going to assume that that's a yes. Right. And then the last area that I wanted to look at today, the 4th essential role of a good leader is to coach potential. This is all about the measure of a leader is his or her ability to develop other leaders, right? It's all about how to build leadership in other team members. So in other words, making the team and each and every member of the team feeling valued. So moving from solving problems by telling others what to do to developing other leaders and building team members' capacity. How do we do that? By good feedback and getting a proper feedback approach and practicing a good coaching framework in my business. Right. Telling reinforces dependency, coaching develops capability. That's what this is all about. So, not just telling people what to do, but really coaching them and equipping them and building capacity. Leadership is communicating to people their worth and potential so clearly they come to see it in themselves. Okay, so how do we do this? We have to consider what we call the whole person paradigm. And really what all that says is that when you're managing your teams, when you coach your teams, remember that, they are multifaceted beings. And that's what the whole person paradigm tries to remind us of. So yes, there's the material, the physical, and that's where we look at their pay, their benefits, their working conditions. But we also have to look at their mind, giving them challenging and interesting work. So keeping them intellectually stimulated as well. We also have to look at the heart, as we say. What are the relationships with team members like? How are they connected? And this is especially important in our COVID times, right, where people are working from home. Are we going the extra mile, putting things in place to make sure that our team members all remain connected? And then, of course, their spirit. So This is all about, helping them understand the meaning on the team, their purpose, the mission, that of the team in itself as well. Okay, right, team. So that brings us then to the end, a very short summary of, those 4 essential roles of a good leader: creating vision, executing strategy, coaching potential, but most importantly, doing all of that in an environment of trust, inspiring trust before you can do any of those. And hopefully, giving you a few tips around how to be able to do each one of those. So I'm going to end off today with a quick little video that just reminds us of something I said earlier. The fact that at the end of the day, leadership is a decision. And hopefully you'll all agree with me after we've watched this video. Once we've watched the video, we will have time for some questions.
你们程序到现在都没有上线，你打算怎么办？
我回去让我们的团队再讨论讨论。
嘿，嘿，看！You okay?
Good morning, students, and welcome to our weekly assembly. I'm your new principal. I'd like to, For preposition. This word has several uses. Here are some of the ways you can use it.
Leadership can be lonely and challenging, but it's more than a position or a title. It's a chance for us to make a change.
Do you want to come play with us?
A chance to include others. A moment to make a difference. Because leadership is a choice.
He's got to go. No, look, broke a ladder and almost hurt somebody. Just coach him. Show him how to do it.
这个方案我觉得不用再改了，我们可以设计一套新的方案。
是的，我们有一个。
We should help the children become leaders. Classrooms we like to have.
Yeah, we were talking about things. Everybody doesn't want to get.
我想要一些更好的想法。
我有一个方案，其实 CPU 可以接一个。
他认为的，哇，我们一直以来想法那么一致是从这里的。
Hold tight. It's not going to move, okay?
Thinking up here, if we put that up, so that way when they're facing there.
好，我们就有这个方案。
这边还要放进来什么数学？ Oh, that's fantastic, Emma.
这是新来的玛丽，这个是程序员小王。小王，你给江总讲。
If you want to inspire others to become more, to engage in life and work more fully, and rise to their potential, make the choice. Be a leader.
Right, thank you for the opportunity. As you can all see, leadership is a broad and a complex topic, but really, it's at the end of the day, it's all about just being the best you can be and bringing out the best in other people. So once you get that, you can start focusing on how do I implement this on a day-to-day basis throughout all the complex areas that I need to navigate in a business. And hopefully I've just given you some insight into that today. 45 minutes, unfortunately, is not a lot, but I hope that you were able to take away something from this today. Thanks again for the opportunity. Lesala, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach. I think at this point, it's still my time, so we'll bring this thing later to close. Wow. I must say that if you see the times that we live in right now, Coach, I've got that classic question that I'd like to actually ask you. But before I do, I think with everything that has been said, first of all, guys, you will agree with me that it's truly a privilege and great opportunity to learn this information. If you did not know it, even if you knew it, there's always something new to learn. But now you ask yourself the question, if this is what leadership is all about, why are we having a country that's in crisis of leadership? Why are we having companies that are in crisis of leadership? Do you guys ever ask yourself that? Because if you follow these principles, in all honesty, and I've seen people who follow them, people who challenge them, I've just seen as well, okay, I'll come to that later. Coach, let me ask you this question before we even go anywhere else, before I actually bring the questions that our fellow entrepreneurs have asked here. Now, the classical question when you talk about leadership, the first one that people will ask you is that, are leaders born or made? What's your answer, Coach? How do we answer that question?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, and hopefully it was clear from what I shared. If it wasn't, then I didn't do my job properly today. But I want everybody who listens today to be able to deduct that and certainly I believe that leaders are made. And I quickly want to respond to what you said about the leadership crisis, that we all, I think, are experiencing in the country. And I think it's fair enough to say that, right? We're making a statement that some people might not even agree with. But at the end of the day, I think it all has to do with our beliefs and our education around leadership. And the very first fundamental around that is the question that you just asked. A lot of people unfortunately believe that I wasn't born a leader, so I can't lead. You've got a wrong, very limiting belief. And remember, our beliefs is what we hold true. It's not to say that it's the actual truth. So if you believe that, for me, the answer lies in getting people to understand that you can be a leader right there where you're at. And really the answer is simple. We don't have enough leaders, generally speaking. So yes, we can point fingers to the politicians. We can point fingers to our national leaders as much as we want. But really, we should be starting with ourselves. Are you being a leader in the small little teams that you lead, in your home? Are you being a leader in your home? Talking to the men, unfortunately, mostly. Ladies, of course, as well. But are you being a leader in your home? Are you being a leader amongst your friends? Are you being a leader of, maybe the 2 or 3 people that you work with at work? You might not be the big boss, but are you being a leader there? So we need more leaders on a day-to-day basis in life, and we can all be leaders. And for me, that's the foundation and the building blocks that will really make a big difference. But certainly something we can all learn. You don't have to be born with it.
Well, thank you very much, Coach. So, wow. So it goes back to exactly what you said on one of your slides, to say leadership is a choice. So meaning that you choose and you follow the process. Entrepreneurship or being an entrepreneur is a choice. You make the choice, you follow the process. So in everything, so if you look at it, and this is so powerful. And also talking about the leadership in our country, if you think of it, it's also a choice that we can actually have good leaders. I think we do have good leaders. You can lead properly by principles. It's also a choice. How interesting is that?
Yeah.
And that reminds me, Coach, I always, before I get to the second question, I had our president the other day singing. All our presidents, they sing, right? The old anthem, obviously, it was Mshenewa, I'm sure you know that one, Coach. And then there's a beautiful song that leaders, I had actually a president singing. If you believe and I believe that we together pray, talking about the belief system and stuff. So meaning that as Africans, it all starts with believing. We need to believe, or our belief system. Nelson Mandela did say as well, and said, what, there's one thing we like as Africans, and that Americans have so well. They believe in themselves. They have faith in themselves. We don't have faith in ourselves. We don't have faith in our people. And as a result, I guess that affects how we actually lead and how we lead ourselves, how we lead others. Coach,
Sure.
the next question that we have here that somebody's asking is that, okay, Dr. Mojaki is asking here, how we help a team member to separate the personal life with work life? How do we minimize the two from interfering with each other?
Wow. Good question. I think I'd start off by saying what I believe we do wrong is by trying to separate them. Okay, it's unnatural to have to separate them. We're human beings. Why don't we embrace the fact that our people have lives and work is only a part of that? Okay, is it not more humane to say to them, listen, there's no such thing as work-life balance? One of our leaders in our global organization loves to say this, and I have so much respect for her. There's no such thing as work-life balance. There's life. The rest has to fit into it. Do you, as an employer or as a team leader, do you believe that? You know, are you being a hypocrite and it only applies to you, but it doesn't apply to your people? That doesn't bode trust. That doesn't bode credibility. That's not humane. So embrace the fact and help your team members embrace the fact that they all have lives. Yes, they have to work as well. They have to fit work into their lives. That in itself is a choice as well, right? But when they're at work, there are certain expectations that they have to meet. And they have the choice, and this is where accountability and ownership and responsibility comes in as well, to do what they can. They have the responsibility, but you need to see how you can support them with that, to ensure that the rest of their life when they're at work doesn't interfere. So what we can't support is that life and the things outside of work cause us not to be able to do our work properly. That in itself is a choice. That is something that only they can do. But teach them that, show them how they can do that, support them by doing that, or support them in doing that. In an environment where you do what you can for them, but you communicate to them that, listen, I still need you to take the responsibility that you agreed to take, right? When you came into my team, we had an agreement. We had a mutual understanding. You were going to do X, Y, and Z in terms of your job. You need to stick to that. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. I'm going to stick to that, right? Without that expectations being met both ways, we can't have a successful relationship. And the relationship is what the team is built on, right? So, but all within a framework of, don't try and separate the two. Don't make as though their personal life doesn't exist. Have the empathy, understand that yes, from time to time they might have issues, or they might have personal issues. Sorry, life happens. There's a death in the family. They can't do a very important job. Well, it's also on you in terms of the systems to have the backup in place, to work within the understanding and the empathy that, you know what, they have a life. I chose to employ humans. So work with them on that. That's just a short view on that. It's probably something we can discuss at length. But that's what I would respond to that question.
Wow, thank you, Coach. That's so powerful. And having said that, Coach, as I'm listening to you, which is something that I teach my clients, my entrepreneurs who are also on the call today, when you talk about, let's say, for example, the vision, when you talk about the business, when you are saying don't separate the two, so this makes sense that actually, whether your business or your work, it's actually just a tool to actually fulfill your vision as a person. So I see, because of that, you can't separate the two, because there's no work vision, there's no you vision. It must align. So basically, and when you have those two aligned as a person, if this is a tool to fulfill what your own vision as a person, what you want to achieve, because I know for sure, I'm only doing businesses that fulfill the vision that I want to see, which is the thriving Africa. I want African economy to be working, people to be in abundance, and people to stop suffering. So everything I see, all the business that I do, they just to fulfill my own vision. So I actually can't separate myself from my business or from my work, if I'm correct. So, okay, yeah. I think this is starting to make a whole lot of sense. Okay, Coach, you wanna
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, I think the problem for me is in the word separate. You know, and it's a fine line, right? Separate. What do you mean when you say separate? I think our general understanding is, you know, like they have to be completely separate. No, they've got to be alongside each other. They do coexist. And maybe distinguish is the right word, right? You've got to distinguish. But yeah, for me, that's different to separate. And hopefully, you know, the audience gets what I'm saying when I say separate. I've seen, you know, when I say separate, what often happens is, you know, no, I'm not allowed to bring my personal stuff to work. Well, that's denying who you are now. So it's a fine line, and I guess you know, we've got to use the right words. But I like what you're saying. I fully agree. At the end of the day, they have to coexist. Otherwise, you're denying a part of yourself, or your manager or your leader is denying a part of who you are, and that we shouldn't do. That goes against what we're trying to achieve as good leaders. Remember the 4 roles: coaching potential. In other words, making them feel like a valued team member, like they're valued. You know, that's one part of it. So how do you make people feel valued? You acknowledge the fact that they are human beings.
Wow, that's why I love Action Coach and the principles, because when you think of our Wiffle culture, what I feel like expressing, I mean, you can't lie about it. It's either personal or it's professional. What you feel like expressing as a human being. So, wow, this is awesome. I am loving this. Coach, the next question that Reino is asking, why is ego such a big obstacle in leadership overall? I'm not sure if
wow, great question.
Ego, but why is ego? I don't know. I think this is a great one. So
yeah,
can you take
it is a great one. Yeah, you know, the simple answer is that ego goes directly against what leadership is about. You know, if you look at the 4 roles, ego communicates that it's all about me. Does that foster trust? If, you know, trust is all about, you know, you're going to be if I trust you, I know you're going to have my back. If you have an ego, I don't know that you're going to have my back, because you're going to look after yourself first. You're going to throw me under the bus when things don't work for you. So, you know, just looking at the 4 roles and those 4 principles around leadership. So the first one is inspiring trust, right? So ego goes completely against that. If you look at creating a vision, so in other words, getting your team to buy into the vision, to understand the vision, to align with the vision. You know, the truth is that really you shouldn't be working for an organization, or you shouldn't be a part of a team. You won't want to be anyway if you are chasing a vision that doesn't align with your vision. Okay, that's not selfish. That's just real. That's just what it's supposed to be. But ego is all about me. It's all about, you know, bugger the company's vision, bugger the bigger picture. You know, what we're trying to achieve, the bigger impact we're trying to make. It's all about me. What's the third one? Executing strategy, leveraging. Again, you know, I have to rely on other people to do things. I have to put things in place that are not going to that are going to make things happen without me. So again, I won't be able to jump in and do the work and get the shine, if I can call it that. And then, of course, the last one, coaching potential. I think that's the most obvious one, right? Leadership is about empowering others, and ego goes exactly against that. So I think, you know, the easy answer is that, you know, ego goes directly against what real leadership is all about. Different discussion as to why people have egos now, but yes, unfortunately, some people are selfish, and that goes, you know, directly against what leadership is all about.
Wow, very interesting, Coach. But you know, I always like this thought-provoking things, because I remember as a musician, one time we are sitting there, we are building a production, there's an orchestra, there are musicians around, and then a musical director is standing there, one of the top ones in the country. She actually relocated to the US now. Her name is Lulu van der Walt. And then she's asking us, you artists standing here, what makes a great artist? Your voice, your creativity, your performance, whatever. And we all looked at her. And I literally wanted to say this, but I didn't say it. And she says she looks at us, all of us, and she says, ego. Ego. That makes you a great artist. like, okay, now we are saying ego is against leadership. Ego makes you a great artist. And if we get to go, you know, we go down and we check. I mean, the guys, if you look at guys like Kanye West, the guys who are the most successful are the ones with the biggest egos. Okay, that is just something to actually think about. It shows how deep, you know what, it's not just a superficial or what we are just, I mean, these things go deeper actually.
Is it ego or confidence though?
Well, she said ego.
And what's the difference? You know, I think ego has a negative connotation to it, right? And ego might be perceived or might be categorized as an unhealthy confidence as well. But I do also believe that there's a thing called, a good self-confidence, knowing what your abilities are, knowing that you can achieve what you need to achieve, right? And for me, that's a healthy confidence. So I would have probably disagreed with the person who said an ego makes you a good artist, good artist. A healthy self-confidence does. And that's the part that I think will make you a good leader as well. Anyway, but yeah, as you say, interesting discussion. Yeah.
Very interesting, yeah. Like talking about confidence, I think, yeah, but maybe let's agree in this discussion, because if you look at that South African culture as well, we've got a Ubuntu culture of respect, culture for that. Confidence, which is sometimes people can obviously, confuse with ego. I always say, you know what, where there's confidence, there must be competence. So confidence is preceded by competence. If you can back up what you are saying, what you're good at or what you're confident about, there must be competence. Otherwise, then, yeah. Anyways, so Coach, I think we almost reached the closure, or the closing time to our discussion. I think we've sort of covered most of the things. So what I'm going to ask you, Coach, right now is that from your side, but just before you close, can I remind everyone here to say, you know what, thank you so much for always attending our workshops. Thank you so much for always attending our webinars. I think you will agree this year, we've definitely brought you the cream of the crop. We brought you the best speakers that we could. Let me just remind you one thing. We are one or two webinars away from the last one where VT will be joining us live. And let me just remind you, the guys who are EBL entrepreneurs, to say that he will be live in the room with you. So everyone else who does not have this privilege and is not in this platform will come like this. I mean, what is it, virtually? But you guys are so privileged. You'll be sitting right there with them and stuff. So, and if we are lucky enough, maybe Coach will be there joining us, depending on his schedule as well. So Mark twisting his arm in front of everyone, so you could get to meet him as well. Definitely. I mean, this is the person who has actually led and helped us to build the business to where it is today. So, I mean, why not, Coach? So, with that being said, Coach, from your side, your closing comments on leadership. So, with everything that you've said to these guys, if there is just one thing or one sentence or one comment that you can give as a golden nugget to guys, for these guys to take home, what will it be, Coach?
Wow, Thabo. To keep it short and sweet, if you want to be a good leader, you have to develop a heart for people at the end of the day. If you don't have a heart for people, that's fine, or you're not, that's fine. That's something that you can go and work on. Ask yourself why, but start with yourself. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe you've got issues. Maybe you don't trust people. Maybe you don't like people. Go back and see why that is, okay? But I do believe that to be a really good leader, you've got to have a heart for people. And I think, once you understand that, you can focus on that. The rest is a lot easier if you manage to master that. Right. So go back and look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Do I have a heart for people? Why am I doing what I'm doing? If it's only for yourself, you can be successful. It's going to be much harder though. And the reward's not going to be that big. So, yeah. Heart for people. That's what leadership's all about. So that's what I'll leave everybody with.
Sure. Coach, that was a hammer. Truly speaking. Heart for people. Wow. So building businesses as leaders, it's not for yourself, basically. It's for people.
Yeah.
Leadership. Have heart for people. Wow, Coach.
Yeah. Is it people before profits, or is it profits before people? You decide.
Wow, coach. I am so blown away. Actually, I could even cry. Heart for people. Wow. Yo, coach, thank you so much. Wow. No, that was that was I don't even know what to say. Coach, thank you so much once more. On behalf of EBL Institute, ActionCOACH, University of the Free State, our partner, but most importantly, MTN South Africa, for wow. You knocked me out of, you hit me for a seat there, coach. I didn't expect that.
I'm glad. That's good.
It really goes deep. I don't know, guys. It really goes deep, honestly. So yeah, on behalf of our partners, coach, thank you so much, truly speaking, for making time, for giving us all this value that we received from you. I don't think we could have chosen any other better speaker here and presenter. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, we value you, we honor you, and thank you so much for the leadership that you've been giving me, especially as a business leader, for the transformation that you have actually brought into my life and made me a better person than I was when I met you. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. And have a nice one, coach. So right now, I'm going to thank you guys. Thabo. And from my side as well, thank you so much for entrepreneurs, for everyone who actually attended. So now you are probably waiting for your goodies. You want to know exactly, for all your efforts, you will be rewarded. But from my side as well, let me just leave you with few, just few BFOs, our blinding flashes of the obvious, my aha moments that I got out of this. And then after that, I'll hand over to Mr. Cole to do, the honors of closing I nearly said the ceremony. Coach hit me there. The heart for people. Guys, I love people. That's why I do what I do. So that's why I guess it got to that. Now, can I shade? People I'm shading here know themselves. Coach spoke about being a leader is keeping a compelling scoreboard, scorecard. My leaderships. So if you are not keeping your scorecard, if you're not submitting your scorecard, then what does that say about your leadership? I'll leave that with you. Okay, I did say I will throw some shade. And then the other BFO, you remember, success is in the system. So meaning that chaos, if you are not going to systemize it, you as a leader, are you growing your organization? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? But most importantly, I think what one of the BFOs that I have there about a good leader, it's somebody who's productive, make things happen, gets their hand dirty. I have not come across a good leader who is a lazy person. So if you're lazing around, are you really a good leader or not? And this is where influence comes in. People learn, leadership, lead the way. They show how things are done. So if you can't do all these things, are you really a leader? So I believe today, what you got out of this, I hope you go, make your summary, take the best that you could, improve where you can improve, and focus on one thing. Build a heart for people. You remember what the slogan said? We come up with the slogans, and I was very adamant. My team came up with great slogans for the webinar. And I said, you know what? No. It's building, let's show you successes of building high performance team, which people first, and then you can yield profits out of that. So with that being said, Mr. Cool, welcome back to the platform, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being leaders where you at. Thank you so much for helping our country grow economically and otherwise. And you are doing well as leaders. You may not be told, maybe you may not, but you are doing well. So thank you so much. Keep learning, keep growing. God bless you and bless the work of your hands. My leaderships, back to my leader here. Mr. Cool, back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to you too, Coach TP, for spending the time with us today and also always bringing us the best speakers from across, the entrepreneurship, category or all different fields on roles of entrepreneurship. I think you've met the second coach that Coach TP has decided to share with us. You've met Coach Marlene in the past, who gave you a session on sales. And now you've met Coach Diederik, who did leadership. And once again, thank you very much, Coach, for coming through to us, Coach Diederik. This time I'm working with two coaches here. So I'm feeling amazing at this point. I feel like I'm what do you call it? I'm among the top leaders that exist in the continent at this point. So hopefully I'll get there as well. While working on my leadership skills as well. And also once, thank you very much, guys, for making the time to come through and joining us today. Thank you very much to MTN Foundation for bringing us this platform and allowing us to continue to do what we do. The same for UFS Business School, DUT, all our other stakeholders, the team that's bringing you this content in the background. But I know you guys can't wait to know who's getting the book. Remember, today we're giving out the book, Leadership, and then we're giving out 500 Rand MTN data. And then one of you is going to walk away with 1,000 Rand cash. Now, just to let you know, let's announce without further ado, the winner of the first prize. The first prize that we're announcing today, according to the EBL team and the statistics that we got today, is the book by John C. Maxwell. One of you is walking away with this book, and that person is Thabo Lebeko. Congratulations, you are getting leadership. Congratulations, Thabo. This book is coming to you. Congratulations, Thabo Lebeko. You are going to win this book. You have won this book, Leadership. Please make sure that you connect with us on social media, on WhatsApp. Contact Bonolo. She'll make sure that this book gets to you. Congratulations once again, and we hope you enjoy the reading as you transform yourself into a leader that's capable to lead your business and lead your industry as an ICT entrepreneur. The second prize that we're going to announce today is the 500 Rand MTN voucher. Now, without further ado, just to remind you, 500 Rand MTN data voucher, as it comes up on the screen, the winner of the 500 Rand MTN voucher is Adolf Malele. Congratulations, Adolf. Congratulations, congratulations. The same is true for you. Please make sure that you connect with Bonolo and EBL Institute so that we can make sure that your data is shipped to you. And also, guys, please let us know once you've won these prizes, what do you intend to do? How do you feel? What do you want to say to MTN? What do you want to say to ActionCOACH? What do you want to say to EBL Institute for bringing you these prizes and bringing you speakers, competent speakers on a weekly basis? And also, just before I announce the last prize, remember, guys, for those of you who are wondering, how can I have access, to such speakers on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? EBL Institute is going to start recruiting in a few months for those of you who want to be part of the EBL program in 2022. So make sure that you connect with us so that you can get the link to register. Look out, follow us and touch base with us on social media, on our social media platforms, so that when we do post and when we do open recruitment, then you can start applying. And also, as I said before, make sure that you prepare your company profile. That's going to do wonders for you. And as an entrepreneur, you should have a personal, professional profile that shows your competency and your ability as a leader, as we're doing leadership today. So without further ado, let me announce the last prize. This is the 1,000 Rand cash prize. And for this one, the winner is Tepo Rangwako. Congratulations, Tepo. Congratulations, Tepo. You are walking away with 1,000 Rand cash. And congratulations to everyone. And thank you very much for joining us today. Just as a reminder, this is one of our 8-month, 8-webinar series. So we're not yet done. Next month, same time, same place, we'll be here second week and second Tuesday at 9:30. We'll be here dealing with another topic in the entrepreneur, helping you as an entrepreneur build that commercial enterprise that works so that you as an entrepreneur don't have to. So stick with us. Make sure that you connect with us on social media so that you can know exactly what the topic is for the next one. We still have a couple of leaders and entrepreneurship leaders that are going to help us in the coming months. As you know, we still have our action coach, Thabo Pitse, We still have Vusi Tembekwayo, who's going to be coming and giving us the funding masterclass. So make sure that you connect with us. And if you have any questions, whether it's related to the content that we did today or in the past, please, by all means, connect with us and let's see how we can help you build that profitable enterprise that works so that you don't have to. And also, this is also streamed live on YouTube. So if you missed something and you want to go back to it, you can always go to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe there, like and follow, and comment also. Let us know what you feel about the speakers that we bring for you, because your feedback is valuable to us because it helps us give you quality on a monthly basis. Thank you very much to everyone. Have a blessed day and enjoy. See you next time. Goodbye.